Alright, there's something interesting I want to discuss. I'm blessed working in enterprise environment, and currently I am learning some Kotlin because it kind of offloads me from front end and mental capacity for front end, in my case, is exhausted. So yeah, I am there. So I'm learning Kotlin. I have Kotlin over here, my basic learning project in NeoVim. Um, So I use that to test some JSON parsing. So I do have some JSON. It's supposed to represent a car of some sort, of a color, yeah. And the type we, and the owner, of course, is Alex, and Sam, also me. All right. And it can be destructed into a class, a data class, and I read it as a value into a class, struct, whatever, and I am able to export whatever data I have in there, either through that class or object, or maybe if I read that as just JSON, arbitrary data, I just got a color, and if it's there, hopefully, then yeah, I add it to the string. So a simple project, right? And I have the same project written in Go, which I don't use for work. And it's pretty much the same. So I use Echo to navigate my routes. Also here in Kotlin, I have some routes set up with V2, whatever, some weird ass shit in there. So for Go, when I also read the same, almost the same data structure, I also read that into a resource. That resource happens to be a car struct. Unmarshal it, blah, blah, blah. I don't check for errors ever because that's something for QA to find out if there's an error. And of course, the endpoint is returning a collection of strings, blah, blah, blah. And for version 2 over here, I decide not to unmarshal or decode the JSON into a known struct. I read that into a basic map of string to whatever is in there, and I read the color, which is one as string, so the program should not panic. So let's look at Kotlin, right? Just the ability to help me with the code, the IntelliSense or LSP, call it whatever you want. It runs Java in the background, and in the task manager or activity monitor, it already occupies 1.65 gigabytes of memory just to be able to provide me some helpers. For example, data dot what do I have inside car color? Yeah, so it knows there's a field of color in Kotlin. It's kind of smart. It's able to help me a lot progressing with my app. So if I run the entire thing and check it in a browser, and it's still building actually. So when it's finally built and when it finally presents me with something, so I've got, yeah, the port, I got it pre-open here. Here's my greeting. It gives me that entire string that I wanted unmarshaled stuff. You noticed how long it took to compile the simple hello world pretty much application. The funny part about the dev thing, now that I have this thing running, I should technically see, yeah, some more Java processes. One of them, of course, is Quarkus reload procedure thing that allows me to iterate with changes faster, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. So, and in the application itself, probably is eating up a bit more information in memory just because it's in debug mode or something. So see how many Java processes take so much memory, of my beloved Mac. Let's look at Go. And it's running. It took less than a second, so port 3000. I got it over here. Yeah, so it shows me whatever I want. How much memory does it take? It's called main. What? 3.5 megabytes. I mean, I know there is nothing much, but the compiled program in Go, a native application, is really not eating anything at this point. Yes, I do agree. This Java application is running in dev mode. Let's actually build it, and when it's done, come on. All right, let's run the build jar. Start already. All right, so it's running on 8080, 8080. So it's still the same. What are the processes in Java? So there's two processes. So it takes 100 megabytes. All right, let's be more honest in here. Let's quit NeoVim. We don't want to see Kotlin anymore at this point. Java is now, yeah, only running our application. Let's assume it's 100 megabytes, which is more than I had previously. But with Go, you already know it's like 3 megabytes. Let's call it 4. Let's actually. Oh yeah, let's see how Go is helping me with writing code. Go p. So this thing in NeoVim is helping me with checking for like helpers, the stuff that I can run LSP. So it's not that much. I mean, one process only for a small project, for Hello World project, not that much. But the entire main application again, which is not running. Let's run it in a weird way. Let's wait for it to show up. So yeah, let's say it's 3 megabytes. Let's 4 megabytes. So which one consumes more? This Java thing? Well, yeah, it's not doing much, but if you have multiple microservices, I drew this when I thought that Java eats up 80 megabytes. It used to take 80 megabytes when I ran it previously. But let's assume just running simple microservices with a few endpoints only consume 80 megabytes. Right, so you'll have your microservice 1, microservice 2, and 3. So that's already 160, 240 megabytes for your three relatively small monoliths. In case of what we had just now, um, 120, well, it's a bit more. All right, let's assume it's 120. And now we also need to take into account that when we develop stuff, we also have these instances running somewhere for testers to check or whatever. Fuck it. QA might even have their own QA environment. How many megabytes do we have here? So it's 360 by 3, so it's 900. So we have a bit more than a gig. So in this case, we have a gigabyte of memory in your backend infrastructure. Cool, huh? I wonder how Microsoft or AWS charge you for these. So that's for Kotlin or Java in general. I mean, Kotlin, shit, I love this thing, but it's heavy. I love having it for work actually. So that's Kotlin. But as you have seen, well, Go code is not that terrible. I mean, there's no pattern matching, maybe, but marshalling and unmarshalling or parsing the JSON into whatever model that you have. In my case, My car struct is just a collection of other strings and some other struct in there. I mean, it's not that complicated, right? So why bother using so much memory? I mean, it's a logistics nightmare. No? Let's say we rewrite some of the smaller stuff in Go. Why didn't it copy correctly? So let's say we'll have client 1 eating up, yeah, let's call it a 4 megabyte. Shit, let's give it 10. Let's imagine we decided to go big time on our application and it runs in idle mode 10 with 10 megabytes. That's only 30 megabytes. The same for production like we had over there, and yeah, QA. They do their own stuff on QA environment. So 30, 60, 90 megabytes. All the infrastructures potentially running in one Kubernetes pod. Goodbye.